I believe Master Skywalker said it best. This is not going to go the way you think. Hey guys, what is up? I am Titan MacDougall and welcome back to my channel, and let's talk about The Last Jedi. I know I'm a little late behind the times and this is long overdue, but there is no time like the present, so let's get on with this. And this review will most likely contain spoilers, so if you have not yet seen Star Wars Episode VIII The Last Jedi, you have been officially warned. Now, did I like this movie? Hell yes. Do I think Episode VIII is the worst Star Wars movie ever? Hell no. Episode 2 holds that title. I saw The Last Jedi twice in the theater, and I am glad that I did. Because the second time I was able to pay attention a little more, follow the story a bit better, and take it all in. And thanks to my nephew getting me the DVD, I can now enjoy it time and again. Now, I do see why the fans hated The Last Jedi, despite its overall success. I've seen the reviews and read the criticisms and heard all the smack talk online. And fans even tried petitioning to have The Last Jedi removed from the franchise. And after hearing all the shit talk about this movie prior to my first viewing, I couldn't help but have that doubt in the back of my mind. Was this going to be a good Star Wars movie or an Episode 2 rehash? The fans had issues with The Last Jedi, much like they did with The Force Awakens, because one was too much like the original, while the other was too unlike the original. So maybe you've been riding the Jedi hype, and maybe you had your expectations set just a bit too high, and maybe this movie didn't live up to your expectations. Have you seen any of the Star Wars movies? If the Star Wars franchise has taught us anything, it's that you can't please everybody. Even Mark Hamill himself said that he disagreed with Rian Johnson's decisions on the character of Luke Skywalker. But he was also quoted as saying that if you go into this movie expecting to relive your childhood, you're going to be disappointed. I'm paraphrasing here, but basically the man is telling you to lower your expectations. I'm not going to sit here and say that The Last Jedi is the best Star Wars movie ever, because it's not. But I'm not going to say it's a shit movie either, because it's not. Although it does have flaws like every other Star Wars, it's still a damn good movie. The runtime was 2 hours and 33 minutes. There were a few points that were much like The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and the humor in this movie didn't quite land in some areas. And the Porgs were cute and funny, but less is more. That is the key lesson that Rian Johnson should take from this. Never has there been a Star Wars movie that lasted nearly 3 hours. Star Wars is known for its fast-paced action and to-the-point storytelling, but The Last Jedi does have that too. The whole casino sequence on Canto Bight did slow the movie down a bit, but other than that, the action and story in The Last Jedi is what you expect to see in Star Wars. And I love the use of practical and digital effects in this movie. Everything is on such a grand scale, and the visuals in The Last Jedi are by far some of the best I've seen in any Star Wars movie. Even if the fans are divided and not happy with the end result, everyone involved gave 100%, and Rian Johnson did a superb job. With The Last Jedi, he has proven himself more than capable of directing a Star Wars movie. Now he's going on to write and direct his own Star Wars trilogy. And not many may have noticed this, but Rian Johnson paid homage to the entire Star Wars saga in The Last Jedi in some very clever ways. He made references to both the original and prequel trilogy, references to previous characters and events. The hyperspace tracking tech employed by the First Order was referred to in Rogue One, and even Gareth Edwards, who directed Rogue One, had a cameo in The Last Jedi. Rian Johnson is a fan of Star Wars and has incorporated as many little details and Easter eggs as he possibly could. He knows and understands the Star Wars universe. As for the cast of The Last Jedi, Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver were awesome in this movie as both hero and villain, each struggling to find their place. Finn has really come into his own here and proves himself a force to be reckoned with as he goes up against Phasma. A force to be reckoned with. Even though some fans would say that Phasma got Boba Fetted, Kelly Marie Tran as Rose brings about a great new character who also grew to become something more than what she started out to be. And the late great Carrie Fisher is at her best in this film. With more dialogue and screen time, General Leia proves that she is not one to be trifled with, shows us just how strong she is with the Force, and we even see her firing off a blaster rifle like a badass. And let's not overlook Carrie's daughter, Billie Lourd. Reprising her role from The Force Awakens, she too has more screen time, more action, more dialogue, and she really does own her character. She's only been in a few other productions outside of Star Wars, but I think we'll be seeing a lot more of Billie Lourd in the future. And Oscar Isaac once again was great as Poe Dameron. As a hot-headed pilot, he normally shoots first and thinks later. He's all about fighting the fight and doing whatever it takes to get the job done. But by the end of the movie, Poe gains a new level of wisdom and humility and learns that it is sometimes better to retreat and live to fight another day. We see Laura Dern as Vice Admiral Holdo, and at first I thought she might have been in league with the First Order by the way she was always talking down to Poe. But she is in fact one of the good guys, and fans who have read the books will know that there is much more to this eccentric character that we didn't see in the movie, and that Holdo and Leia are longtime friends. And as the Resistance makes their escape from the First Order, Holdo sacrifices herself to save the others as she pulls off one of the most epic attack moves I've seen in any Star Wars movie. She takes the command ship and plows it through the First Order dreadnought at light speed. The aftermath of that attack gave way to one of the most stunning visuals ever seen in Star Wars. We also see Benicio del Toro as the thief hacker DJ, a sort of turncoat character who helps Finn and Rose on their little adventure. The smug and arrogant General Hux is back, but is nothing more than a little bitch in this movie. And Andy Serkis again gives an amazing performance as Supreme Leader Snoke, brought to life here in The Last Jedi through some amazing CGI and mocap visuals. Snoke has a more involved role in this movie, but despite his intimidating size and power, he's just a pompous windbag who joys at belittling Kylo Ren. But Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker is what we all came to see, and his take on this broken and disheveled version of the once legendary Jedi Master was very good and very different. Here is where we learn what really happened to Luke, what set Ben Solo on his path to the dark side, and what drove the Jedi Master into exile. As it turns out, the thing that Luke wanted to prevent was the very thing that he created, and that's something that he has carried with him all these years. Now he's basically given up and even tosses his lightsaber like, nope, not doing that again. It's a very dark and unexpected twist to his story, but it was very well done. But thanks to Rey and another cameo character, Luke learns that sometimes failure can be a great teacher, and that he must pass on what he learns from that as well. So come the third act of this movie, we see some big action sequences as Finn defeats Phasma, Rey and Kylo take on the Praetorian Guards, and the Supreme Leader gets snoked by Kylo. Ultimately, Snoke's arrogance was his Achilles heel, as he thought himself untouchable, so it was kinda cool to see how Kylo bested him. And I admit I didn't expect to see that here, but maybe in episode 9, and many fans feel that we were cheated by how Snoke met his demise. And some fans were also in an uproar about the climactic battle at the end of the movie between Luke and Kylo. The visuals in those scenes were as impressive as anything else in the movie. The way Luke calls out Kylo by shrugging off his attack was cool, and Luke's somewhat unique use of the Force either left the fans amazed, dumbfounded, or clamoring. And the way Luke met his end in The Last Jedi was a touching moment, but fans found reasons to bitch about that too. The other thing that the fans all came to see was probably the one thing that disappointed them the most. Who were Rey's parents? There have been speculations and fan theories as to Rey's lineage ever since episode 7, but as it turns out, her parents are nobodies. Junk dealers who sold their child for money and ended up getting themselves killed. Supposedly. Rey is basically a nobody who comes from nowhere, but just so happens to be gifted with the Force, as are many people throughout the galaxy. Hey, I admit, I was taken aback by that too. But for all we know, Kylo could have been lying to Rey, just messing with her head to try and get her on his side. My theory was that if there were any connection between Rey and Skywalker, it would be that her parents may have been students of Luke's, and that he put her on Jakku to keep her hidden and safe. But I didn't find the truth of Rey's parents at all disappointing. It was an interesting twist, and it worked for the story. At least it didn't go by way of the sibling route. The fact is that Rey's story was never explained in episode 7, and was left completely open to any other writer for episode 8. I also thought that Luke had left breadcrumbs in episode 7 so that he could be found when needed, but apparently that wasn't the case, and again left completely open to any future writer of the sequels. Had J.J. Abrams been in charge of the entire sequel trilogy, then we would have gotten a completely different episode 8, but not necessarily a better one. The Last Jedi is a different, darker Star Wars movie as opposed to The Force Awakens, and that's the point. It's meant to be different. It's meant to go off in a completely new and different direction, as should all Star Wars movies to follow. Star Wars is always changing, and it has to change if it's to keep up with an ever-changing audience and the world that we live in. That's what writers and directors like J.J. Abrams, Gareth Edwards, and Rian Johnson understand and try to get across with their visions of the Star Wars universe. And that's exactly what they gave us. If every Star Wars movie gave us more of the same, they'd all be boring. So I want me something different and new that takes what we know and gives it a new life, a new direction, while still paying homage to everything that came before and still making it a fun experience. The prequels were something different. I enjoyed them, but I was disappointed with them as well. Just as fans praise The Force Awakens but bash The Last Jedi. So if you want to relive your Star Wars nostalgia, then go watch the originals or the prequels and stop shitting on the new stuff. I'm still processing The Last Jedi, it's still fresh and new, but I did enjoy it. Despite the hate The Last Jedi got, Rian Johnson did an amazing job and gave Star Wars what it needed in order to evolve. And with more Star Wars TV spin-offs, anthologies like the Han Solo story, and more sequels and trilogies to come, then you can bet that we'll be seeing many more changes to the Star Wars lore. Some changes will be what the fans want to see, while other changes may upset them even more. But like I said at the beginning of this review, you can't please everybody. And with Episode 9 being directed by J.J. Abrams, it may not only accompany this movie, but might help make The Last Jedi fit into the Star Wars saga better than it does right now. So to end this review, guys, I feel that the best Titan rating I can give Star Wars Episode 8 The Last Jedi is a 7.5 out of 10. There were plenty of moments that were fun, silly, intense, shocking, and touching, moments that had you cheering, laughing, and tearing up just a bit, and other moments that might have pissed you off and left you asking, what the fuck? But despite all the drama and bullshit surrounding this movie, I did enjoy it a great deal. The visuals were amazing, the story was different but fun, it answered some questions from The Force Awakens while taking us in a completely unexpected direction, and it worked. But what do you guys think of The Last Jedi, and how many times have you seen it already? And with J.J. Abrams back in the saddle, what do you think will happen in Episode 9? Whatever your thoughts, share them in the comment box. I'm Titan MacDougall, and thanks for watching, guys, I do appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe, click on that bell, and stay tuned for more videos, and I will see you on the next Titan review. May the Force be with you, always.